Hi, I'm Aero, head coach of the Dallas Fuel, and I'm here to answer your questions. First question from Jay Hairston. What's your SR? So currently, my SR is 3K because I've decayed, and it's probably going to stay that way till the end of the season. Next question from Fuels Good Man. What's the most Fuels Good Man moment you've had with the team so far? I'd say the win off of Philadelphia, I think, was the most Feels Good Man moment. It was a very special win for everybody. The picture of the coaching staff hugging and the players hugging on stage really kind of shows that how important that win was for everyone, because it wasn't just getting a win. It was about momentum and being able to show the whole scene that we're serious about improving. Next question from Tessa Cool. Sweet potato on pizza? Not a chance. No. Next question from Irk. Can I buy you a beer? Sure. Why not? Next question from Jacob Connell 29. Proudest moment as coach? I think the proudest moment for me has been seeing all the players so happy, in particular Taimu, seeing the individual growth and just overall well-being of players improve is something that I hold very dear to me. It's very special to me. Next question from DTY 1997. How are you planning on preparing for next season? So preparations for next season have already begun. Our plan is to come in next season strong. So we've got a lot of time right now. We're building out our coaching staff. We're looking at what options we have for the team, what things we have for the organization, so that as soon as things settle down with the playoffs and with World Cup, we can get right into grinding and get right into shape. Next question from Daniel Goldelman. What is the difference coaching an Overwatch League team versus a contenders team? So I think the main difference is, I'd say there's two big things. So firstly, it's the amount of games you play. It has twice as many in Overwatch League than it is in contenders. You play twice a week, which means that how you prepare for your matches is very different, because you have days that you have to dedicate to, tweaks you're making, or days you have to dedicate to, fixing your own, basic comps or whatever. The preparation looks a lot different. It's a lot more work. But the second part of that is also having more time working directly, in person with players and against teams in person, makes it to where you can do a lot of really cool strategy things that are a lot easier to do in person than it are online. And I think there's a very clear difference of depth when it comes to Overwatch League than it does to contenders. Next question from Killa Gorilla. What other coaches have inspired you, esports or traditional sports? One of the main coaches that inspired me was John Wooden from UCLA. He's mostly known for college basketball. He was very inspiring in the way that he addressed players, the way that he did his own structure. Someone that I definitely look up to. I use his quotes all the time. And I really think that he is a good example of a coach for people to look up to. Next question from Seb Schwartz, 22. What advice can you give aspiring players on their path to being professional? All right, so I always tell my players there's 3 rules, okay? Number 1, you always need to be faithful to your dreams. Number 2, you always need to be available when opportunities come knocking. And number 3, you always need to remain teachable. Be faithful to your dreams, be available, and always be teachable. Always improve yourself and look for ways to grow. Next question from Dark Crowned. Who is your favorite hero? So I actually have 2 favorite heroes. First one was my first main, which was Widowmaker. Very high impact hero, I love it. The second hero is Doomfist because he's pretty much a boss and I really like him. Next question from Mud Addy. Do you like, that's my daddy. Am I gonna say my daddy? Next question from my daddy. Do you like anime? So here's the thing, I don't really watch anime. I've only ever seen one, and it was Sword Art Online, and I liked that one, but I haven't pushed into the depths of anime. Next question from Judgy Bear. How much has Brigitte being added to the game affected Fuel's playstyle? Not at all. I don't know if you could tell. We don't really use her much, so. Next question from Himanshu Adawari. Do you put ketchup on your steak? To say that I've never put ketchup on my steak would be a lie. Ketchup is very good. However, steak goes best with A1.
Which is a wrong answer. A1 does not belong on steak, period.
All right, we're gonna talk about this later. Next question from Smirky B. How does it feel to be representing the USA in the Overwatch World Cup? Honestly, it feels great. This really is an honor because I love the US, I love my home country, and to be able to represent it in such a big way is awesome. And I take it very seriously. I love it, and I'm super grateful for the chance. Next question from John 563232241. How did you get your name? Aero is actually a shortened version of Aero Wing 64. That was the first ever account I made back in 2nd grade. I got it from a Pokemon card that I had, the very first generation of Lugia. The ability was called Aero Wing, and so I used Aero Wing, and then I had my N64 next to me and took 64, so it became Aero Wing 64. And then, I decided to shorten it because it's a lot better shortened, and I just stuck with Aero. Next question from Philo0x. How did you get into coaching? So I grew up in traditional sports, battle scars to prove it. I've always enjoyed helping people, be the best they can be, help them reach goals and become better at whatever their craft is. When I got involved in esports, it just kind of made sense to be able to take my previous experience and things that I knew and be able to apply it to the games that I love. Next question from Gansito Cookie. Why are you so lovely? I just is. Next question from Emergence EU. Do the language barriers in the team affect chemistry between players in game? To say that it doesn't would be a lie. It does have there is a small factor to it. It's something that we try to make sure the things that we say and how we address plays and calls in game are universal. We try to set keywords for everything. That kind of helps bridge the gap. Luckily in Overwatch, a lot of the hero names and hero abilities are universal. So if I were to say, Zarya E, everyone knows what we're talking about. And so taking those things and building off of it is kind of how we utilize it. Next question from Aries 422749990. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Probably a lot. I guess. Is that? Next question from Jozilla19. What bands do you listen to? So I listen to a lot of everything, actually. I think most recently I've been listening to a lot of Kygo, Lil Uzi Vert. I've been going back to the old days of Blink-182 recently as well, so I'm kind of all over the place. Next question from CTiz36. Which Overwatch hero do you relate to the most? I'd have to say Doomfist, because he's a boss.